What up, everybody? Trying out this live stream. Been playing around with been fascinated with live stream lately. I think there's a lot of a lot of engagement we can have. Instagram, Periscope, YouTube. So we're just gonna check it out and see. I'm just editing one of my podcasts now. We just did a wrapped up a podcast a couple of hours ago where we had a brand new research site owner. Well, not brand new. He was about 6 months into it, and we're just recording it on the podcast. Random musings from the clinical trials guru. And I live streamed that one on Instagram. Just did a Periscope. Now I'm trying out YouTube live stream. So, any questions? Get them in here. And let me know. And the podcast should be going up on iTunes within the hour. It is now 4 o'clock Pacific time. So how's everyone doing out there? And so I'm still trying to figure out which one I like better. Instagram, YouTube, Periscope for live stream. I think it's between Instagram and YouTube for me. Facebook too. It just, I don't know. Facebook hasn't worked out that well for live streaming it, but I love Facebook for the ads. The ad product on Facebook is amazing. And we can get into some of that as well. But just let me know if you have any questions, or if you would like me to cover certain kinds of topics on YouTube, or if you have any complaints or concerns or anything else. I am new in clinical trial. What do you mean by SAS? Software as a service? What do you do in clinical research, first of all? That might be able to help me out a bit. Like what? I know what SAS is, software as a service, but what in particular, as far as clinical trials is concerned? Like, are you from a CRO? Are you from a site? I don't think you need any of that at a site. At a CRO, you do. That's when you need to start. Yeah, clinical trial data analysis. So you're actually doing that yourself? Or do you have a... did we talk earlier? I think we talked earlier, right? We actually, through my CRO, we're a full-service CRO. We outsource that. We have 2 vendors that we use. Oh, okay. So that was someone else I talked to. Same exact question. Gallifrey. We actually, through my CRO, I own sites also, but for the CRO, we're talking about the CRO right now. We have 2 vendors we use for data analysis. I'm not going to mention who they are, but we have two good ones. And one is like almost a household name in this industry, and the other is a startup. And that's what we do with our data analysis, just complete outsource. What I focus on is site selection, protocol development, study management, monitoring plans, training the CRAs on our SOPs and on the protocols. Those are the kind of things I do. More like a project manager or CTM, I guess. But as far as data analysis, biostatistics, we outsource all that to vendors. We actually have 3 projects for my CRO, which is like a startup. We just started it last year. 2 projects for sure, like money in the bank. And then we have a 3rd, which is actually ironically the biggest one. It's not official, hasn't started yet, but we're close. We're really close to starting on that one. So Yeah, we're going to be looking into all that. Luckily, we have vendors that deal with this stuff as far as data analysis. There's just a few vendors for that. So if that's something you're studying, that's good. I recommend um, you go on Indeed.com, and you look at the different job opportunities that exist for that particular function. There's a lot. There's a lot of jobs in this industry. Everyone wants to be a CRA. I know that. We have a CRA academy. But what I tell everyone is just go on Indeed, go on Career Builder, go on Monster, go on, I don't care, whatever website you want to go to where you apply for jobs, and just search clinical research. Don't search clinical research associate, just clinical research. That's it. When you're done with that, apply to all of them. When you're done with that, go to clinical trials. Do the same thing. You're going to learn so much just by doing that, reading the job descriptions. I mean, I do that myself. I have a very part-time, extremely part-time CRA gig. I'm an independent contractor as well, just so I could learn how to train our own CRAs for the CRO. So I could learn all the moving parts that go into running a study. But I applied through Indeed, and actually they reached out to me because I posted my resume on there. But in the process of looking for a job like that, I was just searching clinical research, and I just get so many like I've never seen so many job titles. I didn't even know some of these jobs existed, and that's because every sponsor, every CRO is slightly different in their titles, and the functions are pretty much the same if you read the job descriptions, but the titles sometimes are different, and you don't want to miss out on opportunities just because you're searching for a clinical research associate. Some CROs don't even call the CRA job CRAs. It's super confusing. International student, possibilities of getting hired. I would say it's good. I just talked to someone today who's a very high level position at a software as a service company, SAS provider, a big one in the industry, and they're literally like director of marketing, and yeah, they've gotten hired. If you're good, people are gonna want to hire you regardless of your immigration status. The problem with you, from what I could gather, is that you don't have experience. So it's not like people are going to be climbing over each other to try to get you. In fact, quite the opposite is the case. You're going to have to go on the offensive and just start demonstrating why people need to give you a chance. I would start with a research site first, and like I recommend to everyone who wants to get started in this industry, go as a patient recruiter at sites, because it's risk-free to them. They can hire you without really having to pay you unless you produce for them, which is bringing patients for them to screen and eventually to randomize. So if you really want it, you're going to get it. The problem is a lot of people say they want it, but they don't do the things that are necessary to actually get the start. Computer science master's graduate, same thing. You just need to get started in this industry. Start as a study coordinator somewhere, and then work your way up to a CRO or a sponsor as a data manager. But something tells me if you're a study coordinator, you're probably going to want to be a CRA, because they make way more money than the data managers. So study coordinator is my recommendation, and or patient recruiter. The goal is to get started somehow, and that's what I would do if I were you. Just editing this podcast right now. Everyone subscribed to my podcast on iTunes or on Stitcher? Random Musings from the Clinical Trials Guru. Make sure you go on there if you haven't. We talk about everything, literally everything. We have people come on, ask questions. We keep them anonymous. Yeah, no problem, Gallifrey. Let me know how it goes. Add me on Insta. Are you on Insta? Add me on Insta. I do live streams there also, and just DM me over there. YouTube's kind of weird with the DMs. I still haven't figured out how you're supposed to DM someone on YouTube. And when people, like, I can reply to your comments, but when people private message me on YouTube, I have no idea how to do it. Like, I have to log in through my laptop. It's really weird. So Instagram, much better. Go on Instagram. And for anyone else watching as well, just do that. And leveraging a podcast maybe for yourself, reach out to me, Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, thank you very much. And any other questions? I'm editing the podcast right now. Yeah, add me on Insta. Instagram is growing for clinical researchers. Chris, can you hear me? And that's the podcast. I always have to edit these things because for some reason the software I use for the podcast. Getting studies, like, give us that process, because there's a lot of people listening that are. I still haven't been able to figure out exactly how to start that podcast without losing the first 30 seconds of the podcast, which looks like it's going well. Is what happened here. But yeah, more questions? Anyone else have questions? Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, thank you very much, and enjoy the show. Chris, can you hear me? Chris, can you hear me now? Okay, now we can hear you. Okay, we'll get started now. All right? Looks like that's where I need to cut it. No other questions? You can always hit me up on Insta or just email me, Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Looks like there's no more questions, so yeah. Thank you guys for joining, and I will talk to you later. Go to randommusings.com. Literally just editing the podcast, putting the final touches on it, and again, thank you very much, and enjoy the that'll be on iTunes and Android, and you can get iTunes for Android. Random Musings from the Clinical Trials Guru. Okay, we'll get started now. And go to Instagram also, and let me know if you have any other questions. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.